Okay, so let me get my caption going. So I don't have to self-caption. Okay, so we are gonna do 1-1, okay, which is this lab. And in this one, what we're gonna do is we are gonna draw a logical network. We are gonna look at, and if you're not sure, right, we'll do our best. And then over time, you can improve. So the topology is basically a network layout. It shows how the systems are connected in your home or in a business environment. So for example, if I need to draw this room right now, right, I don't need to have a room. I just need to put the computers together. So I have 5 one roll, right? And they are connected to another device. So I have to show how the devices are connected. And the whole point in this is to make sure that you know how to create a topology or know what it is. So in case you need to work with it, and it's very common that we will see it again in the network environment. In security, we refer to the network topology to really see the weakness of the network. Just like everything else, there's no perfect design. So when you're looking at a network, you always trying to identify like how can I improve this network, right? And like I mentioned before, sometimes some things needs to be connected a certain way because maybe a power line is there. We don't have that many network drop connections. You notice that we have to wire everything into the wall here. It's just the way that these portables are built, right? In another environment, what they can do is they can run line underneath the floor, and so on, or over the ceiling, or they have a fault ceiling. So this is a fault ceiling, and then they can run the cables across. So cabling is really important in a network environment. That's the actual physical network. Okay. So when you look at this document, where can I find this? When I go into the course room, if you click on lab 1-1, it's there. Okay. And I used this for my non-credit class before. So you might see like, CIS40A here. But so once you open the document and download it and save it to your USB, the first step is you are going to go to Creately. Okay. So you can press Control and click the link on Microsoft Word. It'll take you there. So this is an online tool that we can use to draw a network, right? Many companies don't buy licenses because in order to draw networks, you have to purchase the software. Microsoft has one. It costs a few $100s. Now, another open source application that you can use is OpenOffice. OpenOffice is very similar to Microsoft Office, but OpenOffice has an additional package that has all the devices that you can include. So once you install that, you have to install a package with it in order for it to work. I like online tools because you can save it on the cloud, you can save it on their server as long as you create an account, and you have access to it anytime. Now, the limitation in that is you are limited to the software capabilities. So if it doesn't have that many devices to your liking, you're going to have to replace it with something that looks similar, right? But it has the general devices. Okay, so the first step is to visit the site. And then we are going to, sorry, let me get back to my browser here. Now, you can be familiarized. So if you have an account, you can log in and it will save your network diagram there. Okay. So it tells you here that you can use this to visualize your network. And so we'll just go ahead and click. Let me close this real quick. So before we start drawing, right, I want to show you some templates. Okay. In technical environment, we don't do a lot of things from scratch because it takes a lot of time. There are people who created things for you, a foundation for you already. So there are templates that you can use. Okay. Now, this software is not just for IT, right? You notice that we can use this for human resource, for other areas, but for the IT networking templates are here. So if I need to draw like a data center rack, I can take a look at the template first to see what it has, and I can edit it. So it allows us to save some time. And so we can look at some of the templates that's available here. So if you look at like all the templates, they're different ones. Now, not all websites have free stuff like this. Some websites, they would charge you for the templates, right? Some templates are free and some are not. So if I need to draw an office network diagram, I can use that. So what we're going to draw is something similar to this, but I want to teach you how to do it from scratch. Okay. So see how when I click on it, it shows me the template and it asks me if I wanted to edit the template. Okay, so you can use something that's already pre-existing and you would be able to do that. See how when I'm using the template now, it forces me to log in because that's how they are able to track how many users and so on. So let's take a look at this real quick and so you can see. Okay, so when you draw your network, you want to really look at how your data flow from your system inward and outward, right? So, and the router, we talked about that as it is a network gateway. It is a gateway to your home network, and we're going to draw our home network. So you are going to drag and drop the device that looks like a router, like this one. So in this picture, you see that there's an access point. Now, does it really matter where I place it? Sometimes it does. When you draw the topology, you can take a look. Sometimes we might want to really represent the exact location of how it will be physically in that room or in that building. Okay. Now, your router might be upstairs, right, down the hall in another room, and you have many systems connecting. So in this case, they put the access point in the middle. Okay, and that access point is connected to the modem. Okay, I don't know about you, but I have two devices like this. At home, I have an access point that's wireless, and I have a cable modem that's connected to it. Okay, and that cable modem goes out to the cloud, which means that it connects to your internet service provider, correct? Okay. So when you see the cloud symbol, all that represents is other networks that's not yours. Okay, it could be service provider. Then you can add in your tablets, your laptop, and your wireless computer. If you have servers, printers, you want to add those. Okay. Now, in a larger network, you would see a switch that connected all of these devices together, and then it will connect out to the router. Okay, so this is on the smaller scale. Any question? Let me come back to the first page. Okay, so we'll start with clicking this, create a network diagram. And it's going to give you a blank canvas like this, right? Let me see. Do they force you guys to log in?
Yeah, every time I try that.
Okay. Yeah, so just give it like an email that you use for spam. The reason why is they save your drawing, right? So here, what we can see is they give you an actual template already, and you can edit this, okay? And you can also share that with other people and so on. So now on your workspace, you want to name this. So I want to tell the system that this is the drawing that would represent my home network. So we can say home network. So if you're drawing, like, let's say branch 1 in a corporate office, then you would say branch 1, right? Or sometimes they would call it like Southern California office number 1 and so on. So whatever that location is, we want to make sure that we put in some information there. Okay. And then if you need more shapes and more appliances, because it gives you here, you can browse for more shapes, or you can click view all, which is the little plus sign on the bottom right. Okay. Now, if I don't want some of this, right, I can also remove it. Okay. You can select just like anything else. It's drag and drop. So once you have an object that you want, so let's say I wanted to add a smartphone, I can just drag it onto my canvas. Okay. So so when you select the object, you can hit backspace and it will go away. Okay, so let me clear out some of this. And you want to label too. So let's say for me at home, I have my router downstairs. I would say lower level office like this. Okay, it already gave me an access point. And if you don't have it, you can find the object and then you can drag it in. Okay. So let me take these out. And you can change up your drawing however you like. So the line would represent the cable. So my access point is going to be connecting to the cloud. So that means that my internet service provider, so I can just drag the cloud and say it again. Oh, it doesn't let you do that anymore?
No.
Let's use another one. Hold on one second. Okay, let me mute this real quick. So let's use Lucid Chart. Okay, we can use Lucid Chart. Hold on one second. Let me turn this on. So another tool that you can find online is called Lucid Chart. If you search for this, you will find it. And of course, just like everything else, they're going to try to charge for extra features. So don't be surprised if it makes you sign up and then you have to pay for templates, right? But I've used this before for other things. So it should give you the capability to do a regular diagram. So just like the other one, we're going to do make a diagram. And then we're going to do a start for free. And you have to sign up. Or you can use your Google account. And then you can select your student. So I'm an educator and then higher ed. Okay. So you have to create an account if you're using Lucid Chart. You know, not too long ago, all of this stuff is all free, never have to sign up. And now they're requiring this. So, okay. So on here, it also have like different templates and things like that. So what you can do is, let me see. Hold on one second. So I'll let you push it on stack. I'm trying to check to see if they're going to charge you for. Oh, it doesn't give you this, huh? Hold on, let me see if I can find network. Okay, so click on templates on the left. Right here. I gotta rewrite the steps for this with a different site. Click on templates. And then you will not find the templates right away. So in the search option, you are going to type in network like this. And then you can press enter or click the search. Okay. So what we would do is we would be able to select a template that is free, because when it's premium, they're going to try to charge you. Okay. So these are some of the free ones. So let's do the network diagram. This one, we can select that. And then use template. And it gives you the tutorial if you don't know how you can wash this, but I'm going to go ahead and close this. It's all drag and drop, and then it's connecting. Okay. So they already put in the cloud for you here. And normally when you connect your router, so firewall can be an actual appliance, right? It's an appliance that you connect. So that means that I would connect the firewall before the router, right? So on the rack, basically the data is going to flow in and it's going to hit the firewall first, and then it's going to connect to the router. Now at home, I don't have a firewall appliance like most businesses. It will just be in my router. It has that feature, right? But we have to represent it logically on how, because when you're filtering, let's say that I wanted to block all websites that have nudity. So in the firewall, I can have it block all the keywords that have nudity, or I can put in a link that it can block. So what happens is when the user is trying to search for that website, it's going to leave the router and it's going to say, no, it's going to be blocked, right? Or when it's coming back, it's going to block here and it's not going to serve the system. Okay. So this is how the firewall is represented. If you don't have a firewall, you can remove it. Okay. So the right click options allows you to cut, to delete. So if you need to delete, you can right click and choose delete. So let's say I wanted to delete this. I don't have a firewall. And what I can do is I can connect one dot to another dot, so that way my router is connecting directly to the internet like this. Okay. I don't have a switch at home, so I'm going to go ahead and right click and choose delete. Right? So you can remove the ones that you don't have. Okay. And then additional access point, unless you have additional access point, you would have it there. So I'm going to remove this. The way that I have it at home is my PC. Sorry. So when you drag the line left or right, you can connect it to a dot. My PC is actually connecting directly to my Wi-Fi router, one of it, right? So you can take the PC, drag the line to the router dot, and it will connect it there. Okay. Let's say that I wanted to add a laptop. Well, it has a laptop here, so the dotted line just shows that it's connecting, but I'm gonna make it connected to my router there. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and remove this. You can hit backspace or right click and delete. You can remove some of the extra lines to make it more clear. And then my smartphone is also connecting to my wireless router like this. Right? Same thing with the printer. And so once you have a lot of different devices, you're going to see some overlapping in the lines and so on. So try to be as organized as possible so that way it's clear and visible. Is that okay? Now, one of the things that we also need to do in a network diagram is to label things. And a lot of times we would use IP addresses as a label, right? Now, you might not know that here, but I'm going to give you an example, right? So my router, let's see if I can. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see. So this is the router, right? And it just says router as a label. You can add text to it, okay? So if I want text, I can have text option. I can change up the text option. I can also change up how the font would look, if it's larger or smaller. So you can add in the label for it, and you can say, you can say wireless router, let's say, and its name. A lot of time administrator would give it a name like WR100 for the first one and so on. Okay. Why don't I want my system name to be the actual office of the person? So let's say that this laptop belongs to me, right? Should I name it Casey Wynn's laptop? Or let's say that if you have a CEO, should you name it CEO laptop? Why not?
Security you're focused on.
Yeah, because the easiest way to find things is by the host name, right? And that's the system name. So a lot of times we want to use ambiguous name, but schematically designed. Okay. Sound very ironic and so we can remove some of the things that we don't need. Now, if you have like television, like smart TV at home, which most people do, you can add that as well. Okay. I know it might say LCD monitor and so most of the time, this is usually like on the smaller scale. This is what a home network would kind of look like, right? Pretty much. You might have like a tablet or two. Sometimes if you have a bunch of systems and you can add those. This is kind of fun to do. So this is one area, right? But in a real network environment, you might have many offices, many locations. So for each of the diagram, you would specify like what that location is. We want to properly label them. And the way we identify our system is by system name and IP address. Internal private IP addresses. Okay, and we'll talk about that. Okay. And so once you have how it is that you want, right? You can go file, make sure we save it, and then give it a name. So we can say CIS40A home network, or you can say CIS40A lab 1-1 home network, whatever you want to name it. And then click rename. Now it's on the cloud, right? So I need to turn this into Canvas for Dr. Wynn to grade. So you're going to click on export, and then you can export it as a PDF. That's totally fine. Okay. But if you want it like an image, so you can put it on a PowerPoint or something like that, you can totally do that. Okay. So when I teach bachelor students or master students, I make them do a presentation of like how a secure network layout would look like, and they have to present it, right? So they would draw it and then they would put it on their presentation. So this is, so we can click PDF. Okay. And then we just download and then use that, upload that download to Canvas and you have lab 1-1. Easy, correct? So again, I was on my image. Sorry. Go back. Okay, so if you click download here, it's gonna go into your download folder. Go and grab it and put it on your USB. You can drag it to your USB. You can open it and file save as, put it on your USB, or you can upload it directly onto Canvas. So you click submit assignment and then attach a file, little paper clip, and you can add the file. Okay. And you should have fun with this. You know, this is, you can do a lot of different things to it. So now in a business environment, you would also have like these other appliances. You see a bridge, a hub, a modem, and so on. So we'll talk about different appliances. And then at home, you might have like wireless headphones, you know, different things. So they give you options here. I like Lucid Chart. If I can't use the other website, this is what I would use. Okay. Now, if you like their bells and whistle, like let's say you work for a company and you want to use this service, you can pay for the premium and have the company pay, of course, right? Okay, so your job might be this. So when they have the job called network engineer, you know what they do? They do this. They design network.
Which library?
I'm
Which flowchart library for the?
Okay.
Which library?
Network. So when you click on templates, search for network, and then I'm using the basic one. So let me open it in a different browser so I can walk you through that. Right. So if you're using Lucid Chart, right, you go here and then you have to sign up. Let me see if I can log in now on this one. So I'm on a different browser, so whatever I created, it's always there. So you're going to click on templates here on the left. And then on the search bar on the top left here, you're going to type in network. And then click the search button. And then I just simply select the third option, which is network diagram. And then I just say use this template. Once I have that, right, it's gonna load, and then I can start removing things that I don't need by clicking on it and press the backspace button or right click and choose delete. Okay. So think like in your mind, you should visualize, oh, at home, I have a wireless router that connects to, so I can remove this and take this and drag it to the other dock. Now you can draw lines too, right? And then you can also change color of the line, make it dotted, solid, however you want. And that's how you use a network diagram tool.
Do the routers, do modems count as routers in these type?
Only if it's a 2-in-1 device. So if you have a modem separately, I have a modem separately. So you drag a modem, connect that modem to the router, and then the devices that would connect to, actually, it's not a router, it will be an access point.
Oh, it would be next.
Yeah. Because your modem, it actually routes out the traffic.
Oh,
Okay. It sends out the traffic. It modulates the traffic, I should say. And we'll look at the difference. Yes.
The firewall is from the access point to the router, right?
Right. That's correct. But if you don't have one, you can remove it. So the security downfall in the one that I draw without the firewall, we can add the firewall, right? We can do a lot of different things to it. Any questions? A lot of questions. Sure. Ask questions. Yeah, one of my favorite things to do is draw network diagrams. When I was a network technician and also administrator, I like to design networks. But sometimes you don't get to do it from scratch. People already design it. You go in there to maintain and upgrade it. So. Okay, are we okay with this? Any questions? So you should check out the devices, and then, you know, you don't have to, if you, it's not exactly like how you had it at home, that's okay too. But the point in this is to show you how it's done, right? And how we can visualize it and put it on paper. So I will change up the procedure and I will re-upload it just for those who couldn't make it here today.
If you don't mind the line.
Yeah, so if you drag, you just gotta make sure you find the other dot. See how I have a 4-way arrow? You just gotta drag it to the dot. And it's okay if it's not straight. Not a big deal. Right? Yeah. So yeah, they program it to have angles and things like, you can make it angle, that's fine. Because cables don't always have to be 100% straight, right? So we have to live with imperfection for most part, because there's no perfect system, no perfect networks, and you know, so. But yes, if you can make it as good as possible or as close to perfect as possible, that will be fine. Okay. All right. So, the second diagram that you should do, I put a list of it here. Okay. And this is another tool that you can use. This is the visual paradigm. I haven't touched on it since I last taught this last year, but let me see. And similar to the other one, right? You just click make a network diagram. Or you can use Lucid Chart. Okay, so this one takes you to it right away. So I'm talking about part B now. Okay, so on part B, I gave you another tool to use to show you. You're going to click make a network diagram button. And then you are going to click the network switch diagram template. And then we're going to name it business network. Now, if you don't want to use the template, that's fine. You can draw it from scratch. That's totally fine with me. Okay. Now, some people, they start with the segment first and then they work outward. That's totally okay. That means that they start with the computer, connect them, and then they would go to the next step, which is the switches and then the routers. So that's what I'm gonna do. Okay. Here it tells me that I'm gonna have 5 workstations. Those are your computer, your PC. And I have 2 switches. Okay, and those switch are gonna connect to the router. But if you start with the router first, that's okay too. Okay. So what I'm going to do is come back here. And so here's my PC. I'm going to go ahead and drag it, and you can size it up or down, and we can just line them up. And then once I have my PC in there, I'm going to click the line button. Actually, not yet. Let's click on the switch. There's your router. So I'll put the router in. It only has the hub on this one. Let me see. Yeah. So we can just drag the hub in here like this. Okay. Then once I have the devices kind of spread out, I'm going to take the line. And that's not what I want. Hold on one second. We can do. I guess this is a solid. Can start from here. And you can change up how you want your lines to look by clicking that. Okay. So how do I draw the line? I simply click line, and then I can choose. So I chose this. Okay. This needs to be non-arrow though, so we can modify that. So I'm going to take the PC, and you can rotate it. You can, by just dragging it, and then you can extend it and so on. So this one is not like the other one. I think the other one, they put the little point for you to connect. It's a little bit better, right? And then again, I can click the line and choose different line, or I can just keep connecting. You can change up the color and things like that. Okay. So I have the PC connected to my hub. So let's say that we can have 3 there, and we can, because remember that on the assignment, it tells you that you have 2 switches. So we're going to use the hub for this one, because I don't see a symbol for the switch. And then you can connect the other 2 on the second hub. Now, important that we would connect this to the router, right? So again, we can do the line, and then we're going to connect that to our router like that. And we will also need to label, so you can draw. You can type in the text. So we can say PC1 and drag it over here. Click the T for text, and we can say PC2. Or whatever your PC name would be. And then click that. So now I'm going to name it, right? Like that. Click the T, and we can label. switch one. Can't type today. Okay. Any question? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect that switch to another switch, right? So I'm going to find another one and I'm going to put it here. And then I can label that switch 2. This one is also going to connect to the router. Like this. So now should I connect this one to this one? What do you think? Of course, right? We want to inter-network. So that means otherwise the system here has to go to the router to talk to this one. So what we want to do is we can draw a line from switch 1 to switch 2. And it will go the other way as well. Like that. Okay. And then you can add more PC on this side. Like this. And then connect.
Can we just have lines instead of arrows?
Yeah, I prefer lines instead of arrow. I'm just doing that fast, so I didn't want to change it. But yeah, you should have line instead of arrow. And then label your system. So let's look at the inventory. We have 2 switches. We have 5 workstation, 1 router. We did these already. We're going to add 2 laptop and 2 mobile devices. So that means that you can do smartphone or tablets, whatever you like. And then you would add the printer, copier, 3 phones, and a server. Okay. So for number 7, it tells you that one switch would connect the computers, the phone, and the printer. So switch 1 should have the computers, the phone, and the printer. So when I come back here, I gotta make sure that switch 1 has the computers, add the phone, and the printer. So we can drop the printer in. We're gonna add the phone in. And then connect that to the switch, okay? Switch 1, that's number 7. Then for switch 2, it needs to have a copier and a wireless hub. And then the laptops is gonna connect to that wireless hub. So on the switch 2 side, right? Actually, don't use this phone. This phone's ugly. Use a real digital phone like this. Sorry. I didn't see that earlier. And then for the server, you would find, you can use this PC or the desktop PC. That's okay. Let me see if it has server. If you can't find it, you can also try to search for it. So the copier goes over here. And then the wireless hub. I'm going to put it on top like this. And then just connect those. Okay. So when you do this, what you're seeing is that everything is going to connect to some centralized system, like a switch or a hub. And then that gets connected to another system, which is a router, right? It kind of teaches us a little bit about how these systems are interconnected. So when I'm connecting a switch to a switch, that's called a bridge. When you're connecting two of the same type of devices or multiple of the same type of devices, you're establishing bridge or bridges. Okay, but they do have an appliance called bridge that allows you to connect similar devices together. And so even if you're using the same equipment, when you look across the entire class, everybody's layout is slightly different, right? Like you see your network topology, but the concept is still the basic. And then my router would connect out to the cloud or the internet. Okay. So once we have everything that we need to give it a name. So business network. I click untitled, right? And then click rename, just like the other one. And then if you want to download it, you're gonna go ahead and file save as. And it might ask you to log in or sign up. Okay. If you screenshot you can zoom in and screenshot your entire network instead of log in and sign up. That's fine with me too. Okay. So if you print screen is the button on the top right, and then paste it onto a Word document, and so you can submit it that way. For part B. Any question? So what's missing here, I'm going to show you. So let's say we talked about IP address earlier, right? So let's say that this network uses the 10.10.0, let's say this might be like 103, for example. Let me resize this real quick. So you can give it an IP address. You kind of have to tweak like the label a little bit. Like that. So you will put an IP address in. So the router would be a .1 at the end. So it would be .10.10.0.1. And we'll touch on IP addresses later on. Like this. So why is it .1? It's the first thing that the traffic sees when it comes into your network. So it's a .1. What do you think my switch would be? A .2, right? For the switch one. So it'll be 10.10.0.2. Now the PC, we want it to make it in the later range because you might add a bunch of PCs. Okay, the phone, each of the device needs to have an IP address. Okay. You don't have to put that on this one, but I want to show you how you can do it. Okay, so .2 for switch 1, .3 for switch 2, or you can swap them around however you want. And then we can go, the dedicated device have to have the static IP. The phone doesn't. But you know, printers. So printers can be like, you know, .20. So even the wireless devices need to connect physically. Any questions? Pretty good, huh? Now you can go home, you can tell people, I draw a network today. And sometimes we will come across where we don't have the actual symbol or the object for our device. So that's why we use the label, right? It's important that you label your appliance. So when they take a look at your diagram, they know exactly what you need. So I tell you that you can print screen once you're done with everything that you need to draw. And once we have that, we should also answer the question, how many more devices can you add in a business network wired and wirelessly in the future? So if you're using a switch that has 48 ports, I use up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So if I have a 48 port switch, subtract 5, how many more devices can I have? 43. Yeah, on that side, right? On the second side, let's say that that switch is 24 ports, and if I use up 4 already, then I have 20 left. So combine, right, 43 plus 20 gives me 63 devices that I can still add. But what if I need to add 100 more computers? How do I do that? I just add more switches, okay? And those switches need to interconnect, and then they connect to the router. Okay? Really simple. That's how you scale out your network. Now, the issue is going to be that when we have so many systems here in the second layer, the router is going to get bottlenecked because you're pushing all of those traffic into the router. There's an appliance on the list called load balancer. We'll talk about load balancer later. You would add that appliance before the router. So what that does is it's going to take the traffic and disperse it, and we might have to have multiple routers to route out. And usually that's an edge router, and that router routes to the internet or external networks.
We need to draw a line from the printers to from a switch or.
Yes, if it is a wired printer, yes, you do. If it's a wireless printer, then you can represent it with a dotted line, however you want to do that, or a little wireless signal symbol. Are we okay with this? Okay. Any question?
Okay, so the printer and the phone,
Mm-hmm.
those are wireless, right?
No, phones is wired. They connect with Ethernet cable. So you have to draw the line as well.
So I have to draw a line
To the
switch
switch.
box.
Yes. The only thing that is wireless is, but this access, the wireless hub needs to connect to the switch too. That's what the assignment called for. So you have to draw a line from this to here, right? And it tells you that for you're only gonna connect the you can use the Thunderbolt to represent the wireless connection, right? That's called comlink. So you can draw it with that. So you only need to do, let me see, I gave you 3, right? You can do 2, it's okay. If you want to do the third one, do the part C, but that one is a little bit harder. It's a lot more appliance, so I'm not going to require part C, okay? But if you like to do it, you can. And then make sure we answer the question. So it says, how can you extend this network wirelessly for the guests? I would add another access point specifically for guests. I don't want to mix that into my business network because that can jeopardize security. So I would add another access point to the switch 2 and make that a guest network. Okay. So this is going to belong to the internal business. A second access point is going to allow the customer and the visitors to access. And for D, if they need to add 20 more workstation, what kind of network appliances? We talked about possibly we might want to add another switch, but we should be okay if our switches have the port. So add another switch and a load balancer. So looking at this, can you tell me what topology that we're looking at? Is it a star? Is it a bus? Is it a ring? Ring is a circle. Is it circular? No, right? Is it a star? Some part, it's a star. At the switches, it's a star. It does have to centralize at the router, but is it a mesh? Are they all interconnected? No, right? What do you think it is? Is it a tree? So a tree would branch out. So we start with the router, we branch out to the switches branch out to the computers and the systems, the phones. So we can safely say that this is a hybrid tree because it branches out from the router, right? So that would be the topology. It will not be a bus. A bus would be straight line. So for B here, we can say that it is a tree, a hybrid tree. Most networks are. Very rare that you see the traditional star or mesh. Yeah. Yeah, so C, it says, how can you extend the network to include the wireless network for customer and guests? So what I would do is I would, sorry, let me reformat this. I would add another access point to switch 2 for guest network. We don't want to use the existing, which is this right here. We want to add, so simply you just connect another one for the guest network. Okay. The reason why is we don't want wireless security to jeopardize our workers who's using the wireless network inside. And you see that hospital, hotel, restaurants, a lot of the restaurants now, they all take order on the tablets and then and so on, right? So you have like a separate guest network. You can allow or disallow certain people to be on there. Limited the time that they're on there. So I put down my answer for C there. For this answer, we would say based on available ports on switches that are unused. So earlier we say that if it used up 8 ports and there's 40 left, we can add 40 more systems, right? So it depends on how many ports you have on the switches that are not used. Now, if the business wish to accommodate 20 more, we can say that we can add another switch and load balancer, because when I add so many systems, I want to make sure that my traffic is regulated so that way it's not going to create bottleneck or congestion at the router or other area.
What would be the address for the printers? Would it be 202, 201, 201, 202?
So
For the address of it?
I-
1002. 201 and 202, something
So
like that.
yeah, I would so if you're using your PC at 100, right, range, any dedicated devices, I normally keep it. So I would say like before the 100. Yeah, but
Oh,
you can use so because you have to think about schematically, right? How can I fix this if it's, because if you started kind of spreading it all over the place, you won't be able to classify. So you want to organize them in like a certain range. Uh, you can do it however you want. If you wanted to do it 200, you can, right?
But
Nobody
that-
said you cannot, right?
But it's better to keep it within the same range.
Yes.
I can just keep on going with, or I can make it start at, 110.
Right.
Gotcha.
So a lot of administrator, they prefer anything before the 100 are dedicated devices, like servers, switches, routers, and so on. And then all the later ones are more. So you think about the hierarchy, right? Like the router, that's most important, and then all the other dedicated system and so on. So it's easier for us to kind of say, oh, it's this group of systems, so we can fix it. We can go to that part of the network, or we can go to that group of systems quickly.
And so the switches,
Mm-hmm.
they would have an address of what?
10.10.0. It could be 20,
Um,
and then your printer could be 50.
gotcha.
Yeah, so, and your server could be 30 or 40. So, and in that range. Question? Yes.
So do we have to give them all IPs?
No, I'm just showing, you don't have to put all the IPs there, but in a real case, right, if you do this for a job, you have to put all the IPs. Okay, do not skip. Sometimes it's easier to do one box and list the range of IP, right? Like, see how you have a bunch of PC? I'm not gonna draw 50 PC. I'm gonna draw one PC, and I'm gonna put the IP range from, let's say, from 100 to 150. And you know that it only goes up to 254. That's the max for a certain range. We'll talk about IP addresses later. It can't go to 1,000 or whatever, but so it's 255 is a broadcast address. You cannot use 0 or 255 at the end, the last offset. So when it's the same network, your first, depending on the IP classes, this is a class A. So usually your first 3 octets are the same, right? And then the difference is gonna be the last offset, this last part. Okay, so most of the time that's how the system is distinguished, but we'll talk about the classes and how that can be changed. So if I can have 10.11.0.103 and it's a separate network. All right. Any question? Have fun. Something different than just answering questions.
Okay, on the second switch, on our final method, what kind of?
So it tells you to connect the PCs, and so switch 2, you need to connect the wireless hub, the copier, and then with the wireless hub, you're gonna connect the laptop. And you can use the Thunderbolt to show the connection.
But to the switch to the wireless hub, it needs to be a line.
Right. Okay, so we only need to do A and B. If you wish to do C, you can. So after today, okay, I want you to add this to your resume. Draw and design network diagram. Okay, that's what you should have. The people who look at your resume, if they're in IT, they know exactly what you're talking about. Exactly what we do today. Okay, so every day I'm going to give you a new skill, and by the end of this class, you're ready. Okay, question. All right, so from 4 to 5, we are gonna do cable. If you're done, you're not, then you can spend a little bit more time on it, or if you wanna take it home, you can. And most of you know how to do this already. Some of you like did this many times and you probably caught me out when you were doing it. Okay, so this can be easy or hard. It all depends on how you perceive it, right? Think of it as really easy. So we are going to address lab 1-2. Okay. If you're only able to do one cable today, that's totally fine with me. Okay. But the more practice you have, the better you're going to be. If you like to do an Ethernet cable so you can take it home and use it, maybe a 10 feet, sure. If you want to do just a coaxial cable because you've never done it before, do a coaxial cable. If for those of you who took my class already, you probably did both multiple times. So you can pick one or the other, that's fine. Okay, so let me open up the file, and as some of you were wrapping up the other stuff, we are going to talk about this. So I try to find a tutorial that has pictures so you can follow it. So you can use this, and in your notes, it also has a huge section on cabling. Starting with page 11. Right? It talks about what's in the cable. And, you know, we talked about the coaxial, thin net, thick net, and the connectors. Okay? So you can look at some information there. So if you want to start out with the Ethernet cable, you just need to have a cable. Doesn't matter what color. I think they're both yellow on those boxes. So you just need a kind of good size. So please be careful with these things because there's sharp blades here, and if you do cut yourself, let me know. I'll get you band-aids and things that you need. Okay, so don't stick your fingers in here and try to slice things. So what you're gonna do is you are going to put the cable through. There's blades inside here, and there's different dials. And these number represents the diameter of that class of cable. So the next step after you cut your length of the cable is to not set the pin yet. We'll come back to this. To take off the plastic coat. You notice that they tell you to go about 1 inch, right? Don't strip it too little. You can use a stripper to do this, but we bought this for a reason. You feed it through about 1 inch. This little ring just twist. Okay, if it doesn't cut through, twist again, but don't twist so many times, it's gonna cut off the inside. Okay, then what you're gonna do is you're gonna take this jacket off. Okay? Now, the reason why it's called twisted pair is they are proper twisted together and they're color coded. Okay, so your job is to unwind this, and this little fiber, I know it's annoying, sometimes it falls off, sometimes it sticks there, and it's used for insulation, okay? So what you're gonna do is you're gonna straighten it as much as possible, so untwist it, right? Make sure that they're really, really, really straight, because the straighter it is, the easier it is for you to do, okay? Then, oops. So it tells you to untwist. And then what you're gonna do is you are going to trim it, okay? So once I untwist, okay, and then I'm gonna arrange it to a certain color code. So on a straight through cable, both ends are exactly the same. That's your Ethernet cable. On a crossover cable, one end, right? The wires are crossed differently, so that way the signal is crossed when it comes to the other side. So crossover cable, we talked about how it's used to connect computer to computer. Okay. So along with the cable, you are going to need 2 RJ45 connectors. They are these. Okay, when you insert, after you arrange and straighten it, before you trim it, you take the connector and you put it against your cable like this. Okay? There is a little line on the bottom that's called the crimp line. Make sure that crimp line is over the plastic jacket by 2 centimeters about. Because if you make it like this, right, what's gonna happen is once you crimp, it's gonna fall off. There's nothing to hold it. So this crimp line goes over the jacket. So when you use a crimper, when you press down, it's gonna press down on the jacket and hold it together. Okay? So once you straighten it and arrange it, and I'll show you how to arrange the color, you're gonna take a cutter and you're gonna trim off the excess. Okay? Make sure it's straight, because when you insert it, right, if it's not straight, it doesn't reach the conductor. So these little metal parts back here, that's how it's gonna be able to send the signal. Okay? When you insert it, the tail, the clip is on the bottom. Okay? Because if you do it the opposite on the other side, I'm gonna tell you to cut it off the way it doesn't work that way. So once we have everything inserted, right, then we are going to take a crimper, okay, and you are going to insert the cable with this wire inside this slot. Just exactly. Press down really hard, and it's going to crimp it onto the plastic. And the picture shows you how as well. Okay, one end, and you're going to do it both ends. When you're done, you're going to take a tester. I'm going to use a pre-made cable so I can show you. You're going to stick both of the ends of the cable into the tester. Okay. So here you would see I have it turned on already for you. One on one side, one on the other side. This one. Okay. Touch it. That's how you insert it. Feel this. Okay. If you're making an Ethernet cable, you should see the light matches. It's called straight through for a reason. That means send one signal and reaches the other side. Okay. Now on the crossover, certain wire across, like 3 and 8 and so on. So now if it doesn't light up on one side, one of the connector, one of your wires is not reaching. You're gonna test. You're gonna look at it and do it again. Okay. That's the hardest part, is to insert it to the connector. Push it all the way in and make sure the crimp line is over the plastic before you crimp. Okay? Because if it's hanging out, even though it doesn't fall off, right? Because we don't have this is machine made. So, that's why they just have everything all nice and things like that. That's what they sell. But I'm gonna tell you what though, a lot of the time when you rewire your closet, they're gonna make you do the cable, so you have to know. Okay. All right. Question. So that's the Ethernet. Okay, so it walks you through that. Now let's talk about coaxial. On the coaxial. Oh, I don't know if I brought them. On the coaxial, you're gonna need 2 RG60. Okay. And it has a little boot, which is the black plastic part right here. Okay. So once you compress it, the boot extended. Okay. And that's how it's gonna move the inside up. So it's gonna push against the needle, so that way it keeps your cable in place. So the coaxial is this. Okay. So you just need to cut a good length. If you want to go longer, you can. You are going to use this, just like the other one, and you're gonna strip off the plastic part, but you're gonna find that there's like little foil inside. Okay. And what you want to do is they show you a picture that has 3-piece cord. Okay. So let's look at that. So it tells you here that you can adjust your stripper by swapping that little notch. There's numbers on them, okay? And you would twist 2-3 times. I think twice is good enough. If you go 3-4 times, it's gonna cut off things, okay? So what you want to do is you want to take off the first, there's two sections you need to pull off. The first one is all the way to the needle core, okay? Take that off. You notice that there's a second cut right here, okay? So once, you can do it twice. The second cut, you want it to the foil. So it's 3 layers. The plastic, the foil, and the needle, which is the metal piece, the core, okay? So you're gonna pull it all off. Now you might see like little wire, right? You should fold those back and be careful using your hand because they're a little sharp. So fold them back or brush them back. Okay, see how they brush them back here? Like that. Before you insert it into the connector. Now, if your core is too long, you gotta trim it up. And when you cut it, make sure it's straight. Don't make it at an angle, because what happened is when you insert into the female connector, it's gonna lose contact. Okay. So before you compress it, when you push it in, your needle should go like about a couple centimeters above its mouth. Okay. If it goes too long, that's okay. You can trim it all off. Okay, so they had trim it here. And then what they did was they insert it and then they compress it. So you're going to use a compressor. Okay. So you're going to use the compressor. What you're going to do is you're going to insert it in like this. And then you're going to, with the, of course, the cable sticking to it, right? And you're going to press it down. And what that does is it's going to push it in and it's going to push the black loop forward, okay? Now, make sure that you check and it doesn't fall off. So if it's fully compressed, it shouldn't fall off, okay? And so it looks something like that. Okay. And then now some technician, they like it like right under a little bit. I don't, okay? I like my contact a little bit higher than the mouth, so that way when I insert it, I can see it. Okay, but you know, visually, a lot of the times when you work for a cable company, they prefer you to do it a little bit over. But yeah, sometimes some technicians they do it like right at the mouth or right under. The problem with that is when you unscrew it, sometimes if you don't screw it tight, it falls off. It doesn't have full contact. All right, so let's get started. I'll walk around to help you if you have, so just do 1 today or 2 if you have time. And then once you have your coaxial or your Ethernet fully tested, okay, then you can take a picture of it and submit it for the second lap. Okay, come on up. Don't be shy. And be careful with, all the little wire pieces. Just try to throw it in the trash can. So for the arrangement of the color, let me go back. We are going to do the 256B. That's the straight through, and if you want to do the crossover, it's the other one. Okay. White, orange, orange, white, green, blue, white, blue, green. So left to right. Pin 1 is always on the left. Come on, you guys have taken Miss Aloya's or my class. You should know this, so you can help the people who don't know. If you haven't done the certain type of cable, you can try that too. So we need to strip it off first. Take the jacket off for the Ethernet like this, about an inch. Untwist it, make it straight, and arrange it in this order for the both sides the same. Left to right. So you need to use the other one. You can use that one to strip, but it's very hard. Use the one with the ring. We're gonna feed it through this mouth. Let's split, so let it split. On it. So Ethernet cable, 2 connector, 1 cable. If you're using the tool, don't take it back at your desk. You can try to work it up there, and then if you need to arrange and sit down, you can do that. Make sure that the wire is not nicked. Anytime that it's cut, you're gonna strip again. Yeah, strip both sides, set up 2 connectors. Then before we go, we do a 10. We're gonna arrange left to right with pin 1, white, orange, orange, white, green, blue, white, blue, green, white, brown, brown. That's for the straight through. So if you're doing the Ethernet, it's 568B.
Where were more the kids? Looks like this one.
Sorry? Yeah, so there's nicks, see how they're falling up. Just strip it again, but when you twist, just like one at a time. When you twist a lot, then you cut that off. You cut it off and then strip it again. Okay? Yeah. So see how they're falling off? Yeah.
This is just one that I kind of.
Oh, yeah. So just cut this off and then strip it. If you strip too long. Yeah, those are just insulating the cable. Cut it off a little bit, I'll leave the scissors out. Yes. So straighten them up. Yeah. And then you are going to arrange them by color, starting from left to right. So the striped orange on the left side, then the solid orange next to it, Okay, so, straighten them up like where they're together like this. And then you're gonna go stripe orange, then stripe green, then blue, then stripe blue, then green. Yeah, they're together like in one line like this. And then you gotta cut them all straight before you insert. Tail on the bottom. Left to right. So this is, okay, white, orange, this one, so it's on the left, and then orange, okay? And then the stripe, yeah, and you just follow the pattern. Starting with pin one on the left, with the stripe orange, and then orange. So you put them adjacent to another as straight as possible, and then trim the top to make them even before you insert it into the connector. Left to right, tail on the bottom.
How do you strip the?
No, see? About this in. How they're in the spot, yeah, down. Finger here. Here. Roll that. Hold this. No, not like that. One round. Open it and check. Yes. Fine. Yeah, you might need a little before you go. Everybody doing Ethernet? No one, you doing what? Orange one. Because the mouth is always have the right. Same thing. You're a pro at this now. You try some. You cooked it.
White, green, and blue. White, green, white, brown, and red.
Put the needle into the hole there. Yeah. And yeah, push it down a little. That's good. So.
Let me get rid of these.
It's fine.
Easy as money.
Then you might need to go over. Okay, so when we're done with the Ethernet cable, make sure we put it through the tester and take a picture of it for your assigned submission. I need to see like at least one shot that's passing through some wires. All right, Ray. 5 minutes. You get it? As long as you need to. Like, you can go to 3,000 feet. But the copper is always, yeah, but the coaxial is a little better in that because you notice that it's shielded. And also, because this is a thick net, but also you can run it a little longer. So you can go, I think, 3,000 feet on a coaxial.
So, is it like this? Or?
Yeah.
The picture for your lab submission. Any questions, any help?
But the more is.
That's good. Now untwist them and make them really straight and arrange left to right by those colors. Okay, arrange them. Yeah, there's one whole- I normally find that you pick your thumb, right, oh, that's not right. So it's straight and just show it with your thumb like this. Make that as straight as possible. You know, long.
Yeah, do one of the.
Line.
Everything, you get all in order. But they straighten out.
Use your thumb to hold them together. Once you arrange them.
Oh, yeah, they should be.
Okay, so we have it upside down, so it to be on the bottom, so. Push it all the way, in. It's a little long. How this is lying? So trim off about a couple centimeters.
I don't know.
And then once we're done with the cable, take a picture, whether you're doing Ethernet, take it with the tester. If you're doing the coaxial, take it with both connected together, submit it, and you can have a wonderful afternoon.
Are they? You also have to make sure it's like.
Oh, I need to take a.
What's the other one? Make sure that's. When I have to do a topology, I can get a freaked out during it and lots of.
That's why, but it should save your cloud version.
Oh, I know, I just got frustrated with it. I'm like, I'll log in there, it did have it saved.
Okay, so I'm gonna stop recording.
Yeah, it should have.